And I would also like to thank the sponsors of this session. Evertz and Dolby.io are sponsoring these tech talks, and each one of them will give their own tech talk. This is a chance for solutions providers in the industry to talk to our audience directly about the latest and greatest things they're offering. Dan Turow from Evertz will be talking about using SaaS-based services to monetize content. And then Ryan Jesperson from Dolby.io will talk about the building blocks of the metaverse. So without further ado, welcome, Dan from Evertz. Please turn your camera on, mic on, and join us, and I will let you take it away. And if there are questions from the audience, I'll keep an eye out for those, and I will read them to you after your presentation.
Great, thanks very much. Hopefully I got the right button here. Click share, and you should be able to see my full screen presentation, yeah?
Yep, we got it.
Good. Great. All right, thanks so much, everybody. Yeah, I just want to take some time here to talk about something that's actually kind of new for Evertz, probably only about 3 or 4 years old, but something called Evertz.io. And that's really a SaaS solution targeted at OTT, DTC, and fast services. So I guess I actually get a lot of questions when I'm talking to some people out in the market, and my customers say, well, why should I adopt a SaaS when I'm looking at fast OTT and DTC type applications? And for some it's fairly obvious, but for some it's still new. So kind of just some of those basic reasons in terms of why do you actually want to look at using a SaaS when kind of attacking some of these markets? And really, to a large degree, there's some fundamental things. One of them is just improved speed to market. When you're actually using a SaaS, you're really taking advantage of some pre-established infrastructure that's already up and running. So you don't have to spend time worrying about engineering, designing it, standing it up, configuring it. It's done, it's ready to go in the click of a button. So you can really, if you have content that you need to monetize, streams that you need to spin up, or VOD deliveries that you need to do, there's established workflows, established recipes for success, we kind of call them, which is really predefined ways to deliver content, to deliver metadata out into the platforms. And you can just use those, adopt them, and really get to your end goal very, very quickly. So by using a SaaS, you really take advantage of those things. Sometimes people ask me, well, you know what, I'm used to standing this stuff up myself. And well, when you're using a SaaS, you really do avoid some of the things that ends up being quite long in terms of time to market. You've got to maybe order some gear, you've got to ship some gear, you've got to rack and stack some gear, and then you configure it, and then you start to use it. With a SaaS, that's all taken care of already. It's running up in probably the public cloud, and you can just start to monetize things much more quickly. So get rid of some of the engineering complexity and focus on monetizing your content and the associated business systems. That's really one of the big benefits of a SaaS. The second one is, of course, cost management, especially in some of these markets where we're all getting pressure on margins and stuff like that. Really, you can manage your costs in a better way by moving from a traditional CapEx, which is upfront money that you spend, to an OpEx, which is operational expenditure, kind of on a regular recurring basis. And really that allows you to scale your costs linearly with your business. So you don't have to do these very complex justifications and IRR calculations and all that kind of stuff. It really scales with the business, so you are in a better spot. Of course, using a SaaS that's running on the public cloud, you reduce all this infrastructure stuff that you need to be worried about sometimes. Your leasehold changes to your buildings, your power, your AC, your space, all that engineering, design, and support cost just goes away, because that's something as a fully managed service, the SaaS solutions actually take care of for you. And this is probably really the biggest one for me. It's really about when you're in the cloud and using a SaaS, it enables a level of scalability, agility, flexibility that you never had before, right? A lot of these previously manual workflows are completely automated to take out the labor and the time that are associated with them. And I don't know how many times I've seen somebody manually doing VOD deliveries by dropping something into a folder and having a spare pick it up and then sending the metadata properly, and all the content is pulled manually and placed manually and extracted manually. That whole delivery process can be completely automated and made very low cost, very, very fast. With that, in a SaaS, it's very simple to add new services, new channels, new deliveries, new users, because you're using cloud native things that are designed for scalability. Lambda functions and things like that that are inherently meant to burst up when you need them and then scale back down when you don't need them. With that, I think this is probably the biggest thing, because the costs are lower. You have the time to market that is much lower. You can fragment personalized streams, contents, and deliveries very, very easily. Explore when things are going to be successful. Try it out. If it doesn't work, spin it back down because it didn't quite make monetary sense. Or if you actually are successful, yeah, spin that up more, scale it out more, and do more of that. So the cloud allows us to spin up, spin down based on business success, and these SaaS services really do take advantage of that. This isn't something new. Maybe it's kind of new to some folks in the streaming space or in the broadcast space, but the IT world has made this transition a long time ago, and we all use this kind of SaaS technology under the hood every day. Office 365, Slack, Dropbox, Salesforce, they're all under the hood. They're a multi-tenant SaaS running up on the cloud somewhere. So this is all very familiar to us, but maybe using it in these specific applications actually might be new. In terms of Evertz.io, one of those SaaS services that we've brought to market is something that we call Evertz.io Stream. And what is Evertz.io Stream? Well, and what's different about it? Really, it's a automation and playout solution that really allows customers to bridge traditional broadcast applications and OTT and DTC type applications. And the two of them are actually in the past have actually been quite different in terms of feature technology, delivery mechanisms, or viewer access. And I won't go into the details of each, but if you look at it high level, one of them is focused on, complex graphics, and one of them is not. One's focused on ad personalization, and one of them's not. One does pop-up channels, the other doesn't. One's focused on IP and CDN delivery, the other is not. But those differences is kind of what we want to do and achieve with Evertz.io is make all that go away so that you can use a singular platform. Whether you're going after OTT or traditional broadcast and playout application, you can do it within a single environment. And this really goes to kind of some of the evolving market needs, right? If you look at it from a kind of a distribution, content creation, distribution, and consumer perspective, content is always king, of course. So that is common across both. But if you look at it from there, people have the content, or companies have the content. Then you either go to a traditional playout infrastructure, maybe there's satellite uplink and downlink and kind of the traditional cable delivery mechanism with traditional kind of consumers. But in the new age, you can probably use the same technology stack like Evertz.io to really attack a cloud-based SaaS solution, use an IP and a CDN, deliver to these platforms, which is, Roku, Fubo, YouTube TV, Sling, and use that same content, that same factory to monetize across those new things, but also leverage and feed into your existing distribution networks as well. A lot of customers see some value in that because at the scheduling and scheduling perspective and trafficking perspective, a singular traffic and a singular scheduling system can drive both platforms from a single software stack, which has a lot of benefits operationally for some of our customers. How big is the opportunity? And this number is probably outdated. And I think the prediction is actually probably even higher than this, but it's not small. There's about $4.1 billion of ad revenue targeted or expected from these particular types of channels in 2023. This was probably pulled actually probably about a year, maybe a year and a half ago. So it's probably gone up beyond that, but the number is not small. There is a lot of ad revenue coming out of these fast-based services. So just in terms of features, it's pretty comprehensive in terms of the things that you can actually do with it. High level, you can ingest content, that's short form or long form type content. But a fairly unique thing that the way we actually do it is we actually also include live event support as well. So those are so pop-up sports channels and things like that. Live event support integration into the streams you're doing is another way that we ingest content into the actual system. We support captions and subtitles. We support complex graphics. Of course, simple search and metadata capture, all that kind of good stuff comes along with the ingest process. Full scheduling perspective in terms of automation and scheduling interfaces. HTML5 UI, which is viewable and accessible from anywhere in the world. which is a unique thing that we've probably had to deal more with in terms of COVID times than we have in the past. As runs and importing schedules, but also some in terms of the interface, some really advanced things that allow you to do optimized things for live event management and break management for those live feeds that may also be getting into these streams as well. In terms of playout, frame accurate playout, SD, HD, UHD, all the graphics are there. You also get an inline video monitor to actually see your channel output if you're actually controlling the channel yourself. And of course, big thing for monetization is server-side ad integration. And then from a handoff perspective, OTT delivery, regular delivery in terms of satellite or cable and things like that. But there's also other things where we can actually do uplink as a service and feedback analytics to people based on their distribution platform. This is just a quick view of kind of what a list actually looks like. Again, this could be a list that could be for your standard broadcast channel or could be for your FAST channel or your OTT channel. They all look the same, which is one of the benefits of the actual platform. Linear list with break structures used and visually available in the UI to actually define SCUDdy markers for downstream DAI and other replacement type opportunities. And a inline video monitor here up the top right, which is actually a WebRTC stream that is low latency and pretty darn good quality to actually allow you to see the stream that you're generating and controlling back at the station where you actually are, no matter what that may be. And like I mentioned, these live event views, this is actually, I believe, taken from one of a POC that we actually did. I think it might have been a Premier League type application. There was a live feed. The operator's job was to basically go to break and return back from break at the right times on cue. So it had to be a very simple UI with WebRTC stream back to the operator, go to break, come back, go to break, come back. And that was the big thing that they were tasked to do, because again, that's where the monetization comes in. So a lot of fairly optimized screens to simplify operations where you need to maybe do some of those more complex things, integrated right into the platform, available remotely wherever you may be. In terms of who's using this type of stuff, yeah, like I said at the beginning, content is king. So the content owners, that's for the big guys, but also the small guys. And I think I'd probably focus on the small guys sometimes just as much because a service like this allows guys that have a limited budget, maybe a limited technology group or a limited technology capability to do the things that they need to do without a massive investment in engineering or technology. And then it really runs the gamut in terms of traditional broadcasters, where they actually need disaster recovery type applications, esports applications, quick launch channels, pop-up channels, and pay-per-view types of events. Again, because it's a SaaS, the pricing model is pay as you go. So you can spin it up for a day, spin it up for an hour, spin it up for a week, and only pay for what you actually need, what you're actually using. So it really facilitates these dynamic changing things in a way that really wasn't possible in the past. Live events has always been an area of discussion in terms of how do we do these things in the cloud. A lot of technologies has come out recently that have been embedded right into the platform and on-ramps and off-ramps. That's SRT, Zixi, and Wrist. And basically those technologies allow you to robustly get these live streams up to the cloud and back down from the cloud if you need, in a resilient way where the network may be lossy. Those on-ramps and on-ramps, we happen to have one that is a high quality, low latency video streaming encoder that could be with somebody that's in an esports sitting beside them as they play in their game. It'll uplink them with low latency, extremely high quality to these types of platforms, give broadcast quality when you're actually doing that, and support those protocols, Wrist, SRT, and Zixi. So this XPS platform really ends up being a cloud on-ramp and off-ramp type thing that really facilitates and has made getting live into and out of the cloud quite easy. Just a quick case study in terms of kind of a use for Evertz.io. I think one of our first customers actually PokerGo. Poker Go, basically, they've got a lot of really great content. It happens to be focused, of course, on people playing poker in these events and things like that. They want to monetize the archive that they've actually got. So they have it. They actually entered into a deal with YouTube TV. I think it was bundled into their sports package, but basically wanted to actually avoid a heavy investment in infrastructure, get a stream going, get into that distribution platform with extremely tight timescales. So I think this stream was actually configured, stood up, and delivered to YouTube TV within, I think, about 2 days, if I remember, including some of the back and forth with the onboarding and validation of the stream to the platform. So really quick, again, time to market, monetize that content, and it's been extremely robust. And that's one of the goals of having a multi-tenant SaaS. 99.97 availability in terms of airtime, 99.99 operational availability, and in the back end, in case something does go wrong and you need some assistance, enterprise class 724 support comes along with Evertz.io. Second thing I want to talk about in terms of kind of the SaaS solution is something that's a little bit more unique, which I'll actually call kind of Evertz.io Engage or EaseLive as a technology suite. And what is EaseLive? And really what EaseLive allows you to do, it introduces into the OTT space the ability to do edge rendered graphics on your digitally connected device on top of an OTT service or a linear stream. So in the edge rendered graphics, basically what we allow you to do is introduce statistics, polls, additional camera angles that an individual user can call up on something that as he's actually watching a game or a stream to personalize and actually interact and engage with the content that's going on by themselves with a flow of data and graphics that are available and customizable to them. So this, again, focuses on really engaging more people in the streams that they're actually watching, and then enabling new things like watch parties, a really hot topic, betting, and targeted advertising for that person on their connected devices as they're actually watching a stream. So a really different way of looking at doing the engagement model and really focusing on, okay, how can I get my increased viewer duration? How could I get my engagement up by looking at a poll response rate, improve engagement from the live stat impressions and user insights? So basically, when we've gone through these things, we've seen a massive increase, 50% in viewer duration, 68% in terms of poll responses, 62% in impressions, and of course, but there's 100% user insight into what's going on because of the data that flows back and forth. How does it actually work? Very high level, but basically there is a channel and a schedule and a statistics database that gets pushed into the EaseLive cloud. And maybe Evertz.io here down in the bottom left-hand corner is generating the video stream itself. The video stream gets to your connected devices, but the metadata for the graphics and the events and the stats gets pushed through the EaseLive cloud to the connected device to allow that edge rendered graphics to come up. And that is a separate data stream from the stream itself. But really important, the data stream is coming along and it is frame locked to the video stream itself. It really unlocks a lot of unique things relative to information that comes up when an event happens in the actual stream. The tags can actually be frame locked in time to the actual stream itself. And of course, the analytics come back into the platform and off you go. So a very high level diagram, but there is a data stream that enables the edge rendered graphics along with the video stream that is fed to the actual edge device. Just one case example in terms of the Yes Network over here in the US. I think they call this the Yes app. Really their goals were to make the viewing experience for the Yankees games more interactive. Offer these live stats, these polls, quizzes, facts that may be interesting to the consumers and other stuff, with the option to turn it on and turn it off in case you just want to focus on the game. But really want to also make sure the graphics that are done, they actually match the overall brand of the network itself. So I'll just run a short video that I hopefully comes through properly, just to give you a feel for things. So this is the actual stream. You have the live stats of the watch party available, being edge rendered. So the watch party feature allowing you basically to start it up and then invite different guests into the watch party. And this is becoming more and more popular. But the watch party is a really cool feature to actually increase the engagement and viewer retention and make the experience even better in these OTT and DTC applications. And then we get to the live stats. Then you can actually look at, okay, who are the players? Look at some stats for the individual player. Look at the team, the lineup, and the leaders, and look at things from that particular way. So stuff that you can see that you're interested in. And finally, just an example of a stats poll that is available to, again, increase that engagement and make the viewing experience even better. Right. So yeah, that's a quick overview of the stuff that we're doing in Evertz.io, Evertz.io Stream, and the EaseLive. Evertz.io with the stream being focused on enabling OTC, OTT, DTC, and these fast services, and EaseLive focused on enhancing the engagement of the user in these OTT applications.
All right. Thanks, Dan. Very cool. We've got a couple of questions from the audience. And if any audience members have other questions, we certainly have time for you to drop them into the Q&A. One person's asking about those 99.9% uptime stats. Are those, is that what you're seeing with current users?
Yes, that's actually what the platform is delivering, and customers that are using it are achieving that kind of uptime when they use our platform.
Great. And then I'm always a little hesitant to ask direct competitor questions. So the other question we have is about a direct competitor. So we'll shoot that to you offline. We'll connect you to our, we'll connect you to the attendee who asked it and figure that out that way. So excellent stuff. Another question. Do you have any healthcare customers? You know, it's an interesting question because we're seeing more and more organizations go direct to consumer, and these are not necessarily media and entertainment organizations at all.
That's a really good question. Actually, today we do not have any healthcare customers, but I agree with that person that there is no reason why a corporate user or a health science user couldn't use exactly the same thing to send out streams, deliveries, just like we do in the M&E space. Totally agree. There's a lot of legs for this type of technology.
All right, we do have another question. Can Evertz XPS be used in a camera to cloud workflow?
Absolutely. So we actually have a couple of different flavors of the XPS, and we can get that information to the person that's asking there. But one of the really cool ones that I actually I've seen us use is the XPS can actually be outfitted with a 5G wireless connection. So if you've got a camera and a connection to an XPS and a 5G network, no matter where you are, that live stream can get up to the cloud even without a tethered network connection. You can use a 5G pipe to get that stream to the cloud.
Great, great. And as I said, I'll connect you directly with the person who was asking the other question so you can answer it that way. Thanks so much, Dan.